All right, what's up, everybody? What's up? It is a happy hump day. This is your girl, Crystal Jordan, and come on in. This is our first time going live on Facebook and Instagram with our all new show, Relationship Recap. I'm your host for the show, Crystal Jordan. You know, we talk about ready to love and different issues with relationships all the time. Before I get started with too much, let me go ahead and bring my co host in. Let me get Scorpio Moe in the building. What's good?
Feeling better, feeling better. How you?
I'm good. I'm good. So what did you do? Because I saw a lot of ladies delivered some
They,
I saw a lot of love for you in the chat.
they did, and I want to thank them for that. I got all the messages, the DMs, all the remedies and things of that nature. It really helped. I really appreciate you. I'm about 98% better, and I really do thank y'all. Y'all helped me down.
Okay.
Thank
Okay. All right. Okay, EXO family. I see you guys coming on in, coming on in. Go ahead and put an EXO in the chat. I see YouTube. I see YouTube. Hopefully we'll get we got Instagram in the building tonight and Facebook as well. So you guys come on in. Tonight's going to be a good show. We have titled this The Midweek Recap, The Men Talk.
you.
Tonight is the night for men to talk. We have some guys that are going to be joining us in just a bit, and I'm excited about this conversation. I'm going to say up front because I see all the ladies telling me to let you talk. Crystal, stop cutting Mo off. Let Mo talk. So tonight I'm going to shut up and let all the men talk. I mean, I am going to talk, but I mean, it is my show, but I am
Yes.
going to definitely take a back seat to the guys tonight. But before we get these men in, because I'm excited about tonight's guest, I wanted us to do our new segment. We said last week we were going to do a segment every week on,
We
every time we do the show, tips for men from you, tips
did.
for women from me, and so I think this is a great time to start to kick that off. You know, we are January 31st, right before Black History Month on tomorrow. So what better time than to start our tips? So I'm gonna give you the floor. Let's hear the men's tip, the game tip tonight.
Okay, so everything that I'm talking about is really before you get together with her, just having yourself together, right? So the last time we talked about just your body language and your posture, right? Getting that together. This time around, it's still getting yourself together. Before we even get into talking to her, like I said, it's getting yourself together. So I want to talk about skincare, right? So I know a lot of times, and we're not taught this as men, right? We're really taught like whatever's in our mom's medicine cabinet, that's what we use, right? Vaseline, whatever's in there as a man, that's what we use. But in actuality, I mean, some of the stuff could work for you, some of the stuff is cool. But I just want to teach the brothers how to take care of themselves, right? Their appearance, right? So one of the first things I want to tell brothers to stop doing, stop using soap. Soap will dry you out and age you very, very quickly. Trust me on that. What you do want is a cleanser, right? You do want that. And more importantly, or just as importantly, I think of a scrub, like a exfoliate, learning how to like get the dead skin off your face, right? Your body, period, but definitely your face. So a lot of times, what I would tell brothers to do is, you know, get a scrub. I use a scrub. I know Crystal gets on me about the stuff I be doing, but I get it's a daily scrub. It's not a hard scrub. It's real, real light. But and this is particular brand right here. I don't know, Crystal. Can I say the name of it?
Yeah.
Oh, Aveeno has a daily scrub that I use. Right. I use that. I keep my stuff is like real, real simple. Not eczema. You know, do my face, and then every now and then I do a toner. If you don't have a toner, you can do witch hazel, by the way, too, guys. I don't know if you know that. But just get yourself together. You know, you don't have to feel girly and keep your face moisturized more. It's just as important as well. I use a shea butter, you know, a wet thin shea butter, real, real light. You ain't got to go heavy. It's super, super light. Just a dab to cover your whole face. And like I said, just have your appearance together. You know, if you guys walking around with, keep a chapstick. There's nothing wrong with chapstick. Keep a chapstick in your pocket. Keep also keep, I don't have it with me, but it's in the other room. The little mint thing, like the Banaka thing.
Mm.
in your pocket. Hygiene is the must. This is all, like I said before, approaching a woman, just having your stuff together. You know, you might not be the best looking guy, or you may be, but you want to present the best version of you, whatever that is, the best version of you. It's not trying to be better than outdo this guy in the room, or you think this guy. Just present the best version of you, and these are the steps that you want to take towards getting that, getting your beard lined up, man, taking care of your appearance, because women do honestly pay attention. Trust me. Even stuff that I'd be like, yo, she really paid attention. Oh, I see you got a manicure, or I like the way your beard is trimmed, or women like these things. You know, you don't have to feel girly doing them, or it's too much work. It's simple. It doesn't take long once you get in the routine of things. So I just wanted brothers to know your presentation before we start talking to the woman is very, very, very important, because she is looking. She might not look like she's looking, but trust me, to her girlfriend, she'll repeat everything that you had on, everything that you did. His skin was clear, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to put that out there for the fellas. We're going to get to the actual talking to the woman part, but right now it's all about presentation first.
I like that. Okay. Can you do a hand clap for yourself? I like, we
Oh,
do a hand clap. I like it. I like it. I like it. Very good advice. And ladies, you can also, I think those skin tips were just good for everybody. I'm sure all my ladies are doing that. But I think sometimes we think that products that cost more money are the best. And I think witch hazel, woo, is that old school. That's definitely a good tip for everyone as we try to keep our skin together, because
yeah.
healthy skin, a healthy look is always the most attractive. So my advice for ladies, I'm gonna keep it in that same vein of before we get to the date, because this month, going into Valentine's Day, and this is number one, it is the anniversary of Dear Alpha Female coming up, the 1 year anniversary. So I'm super excited about that. And as a result of that, to go along with the book, I don't know where my copy of the book. Whoa. My copy of the book is looked over. My honey, Adrian is standing right there. Okay. So, in observation of the anniversary of the book, I want to share a flirting tip, right? We're going to be doing that all month. So, my flirting tip for today, thank you, sweetie. Um, Copy of the book. If you don't have your copy, trust me, you want this book this year. You want to go ahead and do something different for the top of this year. Get your copy of Dear Alpha Female, It's Not Him, It's You, an interactive devotional designed to help you attract the love you deserve. That's what we're gonna be focusing on. But my flirting tip for today, first flirting tip is, confidence is most important. So did a podcast interview today with the Relationship Party, and shout out to Charmaine who had me on her podcast. But I can't talk with you standing right there. But what I want to talk about is, before you go on a date, do not go straight to a date from work. Ladies, do not go straight to a date from work. And you need to prepare for the date, just like we prepare for an interview. If you're going to a new job, you spend some time preparing. At least I do. I know before I would do an interview, I did a little research, and I would get myself ready by, studying up, doing things so I'd be confident. So what we're going to do is do the same thing when it comes to a date, but instead of focusing on the other person, that doesn't mean that we're going to research him or Google him. We're not going to do any of that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick out what we're going to wear, and we're going to put it on and see how we feel, right? Because you want to feel confident, you want to feel comfortable. Ladies, do not put on something that you are self-conscious in, because sometimes we want to go for, at least today's culture, people want to go for what is sexy, right? You want to be overly sexy, and that means you may put on something that's short and spend the entire evening pulling it down. That does not say confident. It's distracting, right? It shows that you're uncomfortable. He's looking at you, pulling it down. He may like how it looks, but if you're constantly tugging at it all night, it's going to distract from your confidence. It's going to distract from the date. So my suggestion is put some different things on. For me, I always opt for a dress or a skirt because I think it's feminine, and it really, it's a great way to kind of show off that feminine side. You can show off your curves, but you can do it tastefully. And I think put it on and see how you feel. Whatever you feel the most pretty in, whatever you feel the most confident in is what you want to wear. Don't wear something that you think is the best option that you really don't feel confident in, because you're going to walk unconfident. You're going to be trying to suck your stomach in. And again, that takes away from the confidence. So find something that you know looks good on you. Find a color that's bright. I would not suggest black or brown. Stay with something that's very colorful, very light, makes you just feel good when you put it on. And that's what we want to wear for our date, right? But we want to be prepared. So we want to get out our earrings, our bracelet, all of that stuff. Get your outfit together so that the next night when you go on that date, you are 100% confident and you are well put together, right? Because a lot of times if you're just rushing, I used to sometimes do like a date in the middle of the day. Like I would do a lunch date, right? And I would leave the office, go on the date. No, I'm carrying that work energy. I'm dressed like work. I'm not in the mindset of going on a date. Sometimes it's not even necessarily what you wear, it's the mindset. And so for me, when I get ready for a date, I have the same routine. I put on some music. My go-to is Beyonce. I'll put on some Beyonce. I will have a little something to drink, and I get ready in the mirror and I have a good time. And that's me getting into my feminine zone. So most important tip for tonight, we're going to get into the flirting, but you're going to be able to flirt. You're going to be able to focus on the date. If you already are confident, you know the outfit looks good. You know when you walk in, his eyes are going to be on you, and you're you're starting off on the good foot. I also would say before, when you plan to get to the date, I always like to come in after he's there, because you want to give him an opportunity to watch you walk in. And so even if I am there prior, right, I will wait and I will let him be there, because I want him to get a chance to watch me walk in, watch me sit down. And as I told you guys last week, that whole thing with me getting there first, sitting at the table, the waiter came over and was flirting with me, even though I didn't like the man with the short arms. It's just the idea was thrown off because he was late and I was there. So go ahead and set yourself up, make a grand entrance. And again, if you're in something that you feel comfortable in, you're going to walk with confidence. And I know that men like to watch. I want him to watch me walk in. And then, later on in the day, I'm going to get up and allow him a chance to watch me walk to the bathroom as well. But we'll get into all that next week.
Yeah. I got two things.
Okay.
Well, first is because I've had this problem going on dates.
Okay.
So are you supposed to meet? You're not supposed to meet up like at the door of the place together?
I like the guy to go in and get a table. And I think a lot of times I don't like to arrive together. First of all, I don't want him to see what I'm driving if it's the first date, right? Because I didn't, I like to, you never know when I was dating, before I met my husband, I was very particular about making sure that I was safe, because, we don't know at this point, you don't know who you're dating, right? And so I did not necessarily want him to see me walk in, because I didn't want him to see what car I drove. And I didn't want him to definitely be able to look at my license plate. And I know that's not something that men have to worry about, or probably think about. But as a woman, I was always very clear. I always make sure that one of my girlfriends knew where I was going. And I always made sure that I came and parked in an area where if I wanted to get away, I could do that. And so that, especially when you're dating in today's world.
Does he walk you to the car?
If I had a good date, yes. If not, I'm happy to say goodbye then at the door and then walk to my car.
All right. The other thing is, and don't laugh at me because first of all, you say you get dressed to Beyonce, right?
I do.
Now, let me be real clear, because I know y'all going to say, Mo, you get dressed to Beyonce too. I do not. But there is a Beyonce song that I like that Christal used to tease me from.
Well, you also did the dance. And so.
Oh, whoa. There is no dance to that song.
Well, you were doing this.
What is that?
It was a two-step in the car. We were in the car and you were just love on top. It's love on top. It's love on top. And you said that you do a little two-step.
Oh, well, if they playing it, have they ever played it in a nightclub? I don't know, but that's the only Beyonce song sorry, y'all. That's the only one I really like. But that's a feel-good record. What is wrong?
Nothing.
No.
But you know what? We gotta wrap up our dating advice because our gentlemen have joined us for tonight. So we gotta switch gear. But hopefully you guys got something from those tips. So tonight's show is really a response to what went on Friday's episode of Ready to Love. And if you were watching on Friday, you know that we said, I was really appalled at some of the behavior that we saw from both the men and the women. But I feel like we are nurturing an environment where men are able to lead, men are able to speak, and we're listening. So we're going to make sure that we are attentive to that. And so I invited two men that I really respect what they have to say. First of all, we invited Marvin from actually Dallas, which was the last season of Ready to Love, but we of course we had Make a Move in between. And Marvin was someone that did have he shared his alternative sex life, but he did it in a way that had class and did not make anyone feel uncomfortable. And then also our good friend to the show, Rob Malloy, who is like a dating coach. He definitely specializes in helping men get back out there after they've gone through a divorce. And so I asked both of them to join us tonight so that we could talk about some of the things that we saw and offer a solution. And Mo would have some backup here when it comes to the guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring the gentleman in. Please help me welcome Adonis Allen, aka Marvin, to the show.
What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, Marvin. And then, of course, our good friend of the show, Rob Malloy. What's good, Rob?
Yeah. What's going on?
All right. So I am, first of all, thank you both for joining us. As I said tonight, this is all about letting the men talk. So ladies, if you are just tuning in, make sure you go ahead and share, like and share this, subscribe, but make sure that you're sharing this because we are going to give the men an opportunity to really give their opinion on some of the things they said. Mo has backup in the building tonight. So, so without further ado, guys, I want to play this clip that happened last week. And then we're going to get into the response from a male perspective on what went wrong, right? And the first clip I want to play is, both of these clips were really difficult to watch. We're gonna start with our good friend Lamar. We're gonna start with our good friend Lamar. And let's see. We'll start with Lamar, and then I'm gonna come back and start with Rob.
Nope.
Okay.
Next.
Have you ever been married?
Yep, twice.
Okay.
Next.
How long ago?
2016.
Have you dated anybody since then? Like
Of
seriously
course,
dating?
Yes.
So how long were you there?
Why does that matter?
Because I asked.
And who are you?
April Michelle Butler.
And what's that mean to me?
Because I asked a question.
Why are you asking how long? Does it matter?
He immediately got on the defense, which is a red flag for me. Are you hiding something? What's the issue with answering my questions if those things are important to me?
So are you saying you just don't want to answer?
Let's move forward. I don't care about what you've done. I don't care about your degrees. I don't care about none of that. Because she's not finna sit down with nobody, man. She finna try to muscle somebody, put them in the headlock. No man wants to be in no headlock.
I asked you a question about how long was your last relationship, and you absolutely refused to answer me. You should be transparent.
That's my life. I was transparent.
But if you're looking for love, answer the question.
Are you serious right now?
Absolutely. Because I'm going to answer whatever you ask me.
Come on, man. Get your cheesy ass on. Like, for real. I'm done talking to her. I can't do that. But see, now I don't like talking to you no more.
Okay. Welcome being again. Thank you.
Yeah, dismissed.
Never dismissed.
Yeah, you just got it.
Oh man.
Rob.
Man.
What did you, because when we posted this, be honest with you, I didn't think the room was going to be as split as it was. Be honest, but what did you see?
Yeah. Even if they didn't have the labels as far as, what she does, that type of thing, first and foremost, you're a brand. Like we don't even have to get into, too much of that. But you're a brand. You always want to represent yourself. So when speaking with the lady, that conversation, I like to see a little bit more respect, a little bit more maturity. Now, with her, I mean, I can read her, right? She's corporate, she's in sales, so she's used to, wearing a certain hat. But there is a way that, as a man, that you can bring certain things out of a woman, even if her position is what it is in the workplace. And a lot of that comes with just kind of creating that safe space. Like, I'm big on safe space, man.
Yeah.
It's like we're here. We don't know each other, but let's make the best of this time being, even if there's no sparks or anything like that. Let's just have, a good casual conversation.
Right.
If you don't want to answer certain questions, hey, we don't know each other like that. I'm not comfortable. But as a man, we get to control the tone. We get to do that. And so either she's gonna come off like, okay, this is a waste of time and go in defense mode, or it's like, okay, well, let me get to understand this guy. I mean, obviously, they have two different. I'm not even gonna say backgrounds, because they could be from the exact same place, but since they're, you know what I mean. But at least for this particular time, man, let's just make the best of this opportunity.
Got you. And Marv, what about you? What was your take on it?
He did exactly what I think the opposite of the process is supposed to be. Instead of you took the words right out of my mind. He didn't create a safe place for her to feel comfortable even talking to him, and then the cattiness, it was unnecessary. It's like, okay, if you know the concept of the show, we're here to get to know each other. We're here to find out if we're compatible, to see if we're ready to love, literally. And if you refuse to answer questions and refuse to tell someone about you so they can get to know it, it's like you're denying them the opportunity to even see if you're compatible. Right. So that was dead from, that as the moment it went left, that conversation was over, right. But the energy, like you said, man, we control the energy. And one thing I always do, and one thing I made sure to do on my season, is I made sure the women felt comfortable talking to me. That's ground zero. Let's start there. At least feel comfortable communicating with me as a person you're just getting to know. And you do that through controlling your energy, controlling your tone, not, getting aggressive like that. You know what I'm saying? That was not like, I mean, the result that came of it was exactly what was supposed to come of it.
I mean, I think it was kind of fair of her to say, you can ask me questions too. She was open to the same type, and he didn't have to. And right then and then, that's when he could have controlled the room, even if he didn't have initial control.
Yeah. He could have recaptured it at that moment, because she gave him an alley-oop and he was like, "No, I'm good." You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Okay.
Let me ask you guys this, because I think we saw in that clip that my take on that was two things can be true, right? And I think that his response was totally wrong. And I wanted to have men on that would handle it different. But I also want you guys to speak to, and Mo, you can answer this as well. One of my good friends got in the comment and he said, I can see what happened right away. He said he's not attracted to her. And just by the way he was responding, you could tell that he wasn't initially attracted to her. We know that everybody that we go on a date with, especially a blind date like this, you may not be attracted to them. But so if you're not attracted to a person and her way of kind of firing off the questions, her tone, like you said, Rob, you could immediately kind of read that she was in that, take charge tone. Well, what about this? What about that? And that probably is difficult for anybody to answer at rapid fire. So I want to ask you, all three of you, what would you do in the situation that you go on a date? You go on a blind date and you're not necessarily attracted to the woman, and she is coming at you in a way that you may not feel is, you're already turned off because you don't necessarily, you're not physically attracted to her, but she's also coming at you in that way. What would be your response and how would you handle that situation? I'll start with you, Mo.
I'll first ask her, does she want a drink? Do you need a drink? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure out at that point, how do I slow it down? Maybe she like you were saying earlier, Christal. Maybe she just got off work. You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to get her to relax at this point. We can keep it lighthearted at first, like the fellas were saying. You have to take the wheel, and that's what it is. So find out, get her to relax if that's what you're feeling. That energy. I've definitely been on dates. I'm pretty sure these fellas have been the same, and it might not necessarily be your cup of tea, but you enjoy the moment for what it is. You don't have to be nasty about that. Hell, I went on a date like that and wound up with her friend. Now, if I was nasty to her, she would have never introduced me to her friend. You see what I'm saying? Wind up having way more in common, and she admitted that. So
yeah,
guys got to figure out a way to pivot and still make it at least a respectable time.
Marvin, what about you?
Honestly, in a situation like that, I think it's just a matter of maturity. And that's what it boils down to, because if I'm not attracted to a woman, number one, I'm going to tell her. I'm not going to lead her on, because we might not even get to those questions, because I'm going to let her know up front, like, hey, you know what? You seem like an awesome person, but this isn't really my vibe. I'd love to continue to date, just have a good conversation, enjoy a good meal with you. And then we can, if we choose to remain friends, like you say, you never know what could come of it. It could be good networking. You could meet a business partner or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. But to just immediately shut it down like that and then act like that and become aggressive because you're not attracted to someone, I think that's just very low vibrational.
Have you done that before, Marvin? Have you told someone on a initial date that you weren't attracted to them?
Oh yeah.
Oh, how did they receive that?
Well, I mean, it was understood. Sometimes there was disappointment, but it was understood. What more can you say? I didn't lead you on. I didn't lie to you. I didn't lie to kick it, which is what a lot of dudes do. You know what I'm saying? I rather be upfront and say and be transparent, like I was on the show. I've always operated that way.
Yeah. Ooh, I'll just be honest. I have never had that happen to me on a date. I'm running back in my head and trying to think.
That's because you fine. It's real easy for attractive people to say, yeah, I've never been let down like that. Well, I bet you haven't.
But I'm just like, I don't know how that may be taken harsh. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to, of course, I've been on a date where I wasn't attracted to the guy, but I didn't say that. And the viewers have told me that I was wrong for ghosting people. And so maybe I should, I don't have to worry about that now because I'm married, but I've gone on a date where I was not attracted. But I think my thing is I always look for an opportunity to still enjoy it. Like if I've spent the time to dress and come to, sit down, I could enjoy the conversation. You may not be attracted to everybody you go out with. You don't have to marry everybody you go out with, but I think, being respectful and not treating that person as though they're beneath you is key, because you don't know when you show up, you don't know if that person is going to be attracted to you or not. I do think that as a woman, you have to not assume. I don't ever assume that the person is going to automatically be attracted to me.
Right.
I just, and I don't know if I'm going to be attracted to them, but I think that a person deserves respect. If I thought enough of them because of the conversation or because of the fact that we're on this show together to come, then I should be the best version of myself. So, but I love the fact that you said that you're honest about that. And I think that as women, we have to, we can't have two ways. Either you want him to be honest or you don't. At the end of the day, I do appreciate and respect a man that is willing to be honest because he's not leading you on. I'm just saying, woo, I don't know how I would feel if I sat down and the guy was like, well, you're not really my vibe. Good. Woo, okay.
Yeah.
Rob?
I'd rather someone tell me the truth. Just, let me know instead of and the whole ghosting thing. I think that's ridiculous. Also, it just lack of communication, whatever the case. Just, okay, you're not interested. Cool. Tell me that. I'll keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, but to just disappear and it just, I think that's rude and just immature, honestly.
It is. No, it absolutely is. Rob, what about you? Because you and I have talked. You actually were a guest on another show that I did, and we were talking about dating specifically here in Atlanta. I know that we know that Rob has a huge group of fans. He has a huge fan base that love him. He is the handsome silver fox. But Rob, what do you do if you're on a date with a woman and you're not necessarily attracted to her? Maybe you saw her online, maybe she had a filter on, maybe the filter is off, maybe that's not your cup of tea, as Marvin said, and maybe her energy is very presumptuous, and she's coming at you like you should be, be at her. What do you do?
That's a good question. There's a lot of women with that mindset, that what you said, whether they look a certain way or not, they still have a entitlement mentality. There's a lot of women with an entitlement mentality, especially to have a large fan base on social media. So they try to carry that over to real life. So that doesn't always work, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So reality checks can be pretty tough on some women's ego. But this was a blind date situation. So it takes a while to get a date for me, to be honest with you. It takes a while, because I believe in just finding out more about a woman's habits, her routine, what she really has going on in life, because it may be all good, in that season right now. But let's find out when you got some more challenges, when the kid's going through something, your mama don't call you back, but now just a little backstory. But for that situation, I like enjoying the moment. To be honest, number one, I know I ain't gonna see you again, baby. So drink up, like Mo said, sippy sip, and let's have some good conversation. But it's not happening again, So we'll have that conversation throughout, throughout the date. But it's gonna be respectful, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be like Rob was a gentleman, because that's who I am. I'm a distinguished. So you're not gonna say that Rob had an attitude, he was acting, a diva or just crazy, whatever the case is, because that's not who I am. So I'm always gonna be who I am, and I'm gonna look at some of the best opportunities to just engage and have conversation. Even if she's fine, we might not be a match. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's see how much commonality we have in the conversation, and just have a good time. But I'll let her know that, nah, this gonna be it.
Yeah.
I got a question. Let's say you're out with the fellas, you might have been watching the game, Super Bowl, whatever it is, and you have a homeboy that met a woman, and he's acting similar to him. Are we checking each other at this point? I know we're talking about grown men, but I mean, I've been in situations where I felt awkward watching a friend approach a woman in a crazy manner, or, it just went left, and it's like, yo, he might have asked her for a phone number and said something crazy because she didn't give it to him, or just the energy changed. And my thing is, are we checking each other about that? I'll be like, yo, man, that ain't cool. We just letting it go. We minding our business. What are we doing?
It's interesting, because when I think about it, I think of everybody that I would really call my boy. You know what I'm saying? People that have been with me for years, and none of them treat women like that.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to surround myself with anybody who has an energy that I don't like. And I don't like that. I got 3 sisters and a daughter, man. I don't, it pisses me off to no end when men get aggressive with women like that for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can be warranted sometimes if it's a self-defense situation, you can't, but just a conversation. Like, I would have said, like, bro, what is you going so hard for? Like, she's trying to get to know you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? But I've never had to do that, because my boys, like I said, most of them are married, but they've never been, that aggressive type. But to see it, it's just like, again, it's just like, wow, it was so many cringeworthy moments in those first 3 episodes. I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Me and Juju binged them the other night after Tamasha hit me up and told me that, Owen had posted that thing about me and Lamar, the comparison, and started that whole ridiculous conversation, which we'll get into later. But yeah, it was just like, oh my God, I didn't even know where we were going to start, because it was so many different moments that I was just like
Yeah, that's why I was like, we got to have a conversation about this. But I do also want you guys to be honest about how you feel. This whole conversation, I have a book titled Dear Alpha Female, It's Not Him, It's You. And it really is talking about myself. I was a business owner for years, over 20 years. And I did struggle with really having to learn how to treat dates differently than business,
Mm-hmm.
and I want you all to be honest about how you feel when a woman does come to a date or does approach you in the way that April did with Lamar. Because if you take away his energy, which was not an example of manhood, in my opinion, she still was very business and corporate like in the way she interacted with him, which a lot of men found very unattractive. And so this is not to beat her down, or even Lamar for that matter. This is really for us to just have a conversation. I want to know what it is from a man's perspective that feels off-putting when a woman is approaching you like, so what do you bring to the table? What do you have? What do you do? What do you do? What do you, how many children do you have? Like, when it comes off very direct and very rapid fire, what is it about that tone and that energy that is a turnoff? I'll start with you, Rob.
All right, I'm glad because I'm looking down there at Alexis, and she said, "What are some of the examples of entitlements that the panel thinks women have?" So I'm going to lead right into that. A lot of times there's a lot of women that want to be entertained. They want you to wow them, right? But there's been no interest, from each other. So right off the bat, maybe that's something they're accustomed to. Maybe a lot of guys, are in their DMs, or when they're out and about, approach her, and that may be what she's accustomed to. Like I think one of the things I heard someone say is women get hit on anywhere between 10 to 50 times a day. Between 10 to 50 times a day, whether somebody's a miss, excuse me, whatever the case is. So I understand that what that can do for an ego, but at the same time, there has to be some common respect. You have to be able to talk to somebody, not like an employee, not like a potential hire candidate, not like a constituent. You're really wanting to get to know someone. And so sometimes you have to give a little to get a little. What I mean by that is, it's okay to be friendly. It's okay to be feminine. It's okay to, even if that's not what you're accustomed to on a regular basis, what a lot of times what you give is what you're going to get, and you can't control how somebody is going to interpret it. And so, if you are a little aggressive, over assertive, if you come across, really corporate, and then that can be really cold. So depending on what type of guy you're dealing with, he may not receive that well, especially if he a hood dude and he don't have that versatility where you can be hood, or you can, you can click and do that, then you're not gonna get good results. And I do believe that women do have that ability to read men. Like, if he's a square, if you feel like he's a square, if he may be, a hood dude or whatever, if somebody who's versatile, like y'all have that instinct. So it's up to you if you choose, how you come across, but just be prepared if it's not received well. So at the end of the day, I still feel like it's important to be feminine. Like, you don't have, I know that the soft life is like 2 years in, people talking about that.
Yeah.
That's something that I feel like a woman should know, just like men should be able to lead in conversation, lead in being able to pivot, like Mo said. Like, those are certain social skills and conversation skills that I think we should have those.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Mo, because we've talked about that a lot. Mo and I have talked about dates, and he's called me and said that, that type of situation has happened before. So what is it about, explain to women in plain English, like Denzel Washington said, tell me like I'm 4 years old. What is it that it feels like when a woman does come to a date, or gets, you have a conversation with her on a dating app, and the next thing you know, she's business coming at you quick, trying to figure out how do you measure up in her world? How does that feel?
Cold, abrasive, just very, 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 it's almost like, are we doing business or are we really, to shed that? And it takes an extremely long time. And one particular, that's what I was dealing with. She liked the one side of me, you know what I mean? But at the same time, the way I just felt like everything was an interview or a look over for a potential job. And even with their friends, like, I'll tell you what, the event that we had, the Christmas thing that you had, under the mistletoe, I'm at the bar. I get the bartender's attention. These women look over. They complimented me on the way I smelled. And then she was like, she pointed to her friend, and a friend pointed back at her, and she was like, "Oh, so what do you do?" In that line of questioning. So she's looking for somebody. What do you drive? You see what I'm saying? I'm just like, whoa. I'm just here to get a drink. But it just felt like when they talk about the word thirsty, that felt thirsty. That felt like somebody's trying to get married off real quick. Let's get to know one another. Let's fill each other out. Let's walk into this thing. But when it's like bam, 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 kind of like Homegirl was in that situation.
Yeah.
We got to figure out a way to pump the brakes. And I understand whether you and your friend are excited or if, you want to get to somewhere, you want to know what you like and you want to get right to it.
Yeah.
But it just comes off so unfriendly, so shallow, so I can't do it. It's not for me.
That's Mo's number one. We'll talk like, how was the day? Yeah, that's not for me. That's not for me.
It's not for me.
Marvin, what about you? Because I love the fact that, and I can say this because I'm married, I have a panel tonight of all very attractive men that a lot of women would definitely consider quality men, right? And so that's why it was important. I wanted to make sure that everybody that we had contribute tonight were men that, because there have been other men on the show before, I'm not going to say any names, that it's easy to say, well, I don't care what he says because I wouldn't want to go out with him. That's easy, right? Oh, well, forget his opinion. And we're
Right.
women can be very dismissive men as well, but very dismissive when it's like, well, I don't want to date him anyway. But I feel like tonight's panel, these are men that all are from different areas and different backgrounds, but there's substance, there's value here. So Marvin, yes, Marvin is still with his girlfriend, Alexis. Ma'am. Just kidding. She's probably asking.
I'm like
asking, but no, Marvin, what about you? Can you explain? Because I think there is a disconnect where women don't always understand. I was telling the girl earlier, a young lady today, I used to go on dates with my phones, right? I used to have two phones. My business was a lot going on. And so I would take my phones and I would put them on the table at the date, not because I was trying to impress him. I just wanted to make sure that if a client called or something happened, I was available. Well, I did not realize how unattractive that was, right? So later I had a guy friend tell me, actually, I had a guy that I was dating that I really liked, told me that I was rude and I needed to go outside with my phones. And it checked me, but I appreciate, because of my personality, I like when someone's honest with me. Maybe not about the fact that he's not attracted to me, but I like the fact that he told me that was rude. I respected him, and I didn't know that it was rude. And so I did. I got a call and he said, go outside. That's rude. We're in a very nice restaurant. So I went outside, and then I one of my guy friends said, Christal, don't have the phones out on the date. If you can't take an hour and a half out of your schedule to actually go on a date without a phone, then don't go on that date. So I think a lot of times women, we don't know that things that we're doing are not attractive. So I want you to kind of explain from your perspective, why is that off-putting when a woman is, what do you do? How many kids do you have? What's the like? What is it? What would you rather a woman did when she met you? That would be more receptive as she's getting to know you, but would be more, the energy would be better for you.
Not be so forced and robotic. I'm not, it's like she's reading off a questionnaire. And I don't want to feel like I'm being interviewed. You know what I'm saying? I want to feel like I'm having a conversation with someone I'm trying to get to know.
Yeah.
So if what she could have done differently in that scene, if you had those questions, it's like, okay, bring the intensity level of it down a little bit. Like you say, a little bit more soft, a little bit more, not even necessarily feminine, just not aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, because I'm okay with the questions, because I mean, asking questions, number one, I want you to get to know me as well. So that's how you keep a conversation flowing but number one, it also should be, a two-way street as well. So if someone is just dominating the conversation, and I think that's what happened with Lamar, like he said, he didn't like the way that she was dominating the conversation. So he shut down, and then everything just went left and imploded, but again, I think that is just a combination of their two personalities just not meshing. It was just evident that they got along like a burning house, you know what I'm saying? So it was what it was, but it's still a matter of, for me, like you said, as a gentleman conducting yourself with class and integrity, you don't have to go hard like that. And it's just, and get her to the point where she gets up and walks away. Like, have a conversation. It's and I think I can't remember it was one scene where he told one of the ladies that he wasn't interested. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't as aggressive with it. So, but I think her dominant energy, her aggressive energy kind of got his defenses up. She hadn't lowered her defenses at all in the conversation. So it was just all bad. It's just all bad.
All bad is a good way to explain what has been happening on Ready to Love across the board. Let's go on to this other clip. Well, before we move there, let me ask you just in that, to stay right there real quick, Marvin. What is it about women leading with because I want to get everything out that happened in that clip, because that was a loaded clip.
Yeah.
Before the clip actually picked up, when you watched Ready to Love, the entire show, April did give her qualifications and degrees. And as he said in his confessional, I don't care about all that. And I've heard men say that over and over and over. So it's like, and then, so the women on in the chat last week were like, well, are we supposed to hide our accomplishments? And I'm like, I don't believe that we hide our accomplishments. I do believe that we don't need to lead with them. So let me ask all three of you guys to quickly respond to what is the issue with men and the idea that, masters, PhDs, owning my own home, I have property, I have this, I have that. What is it about that isn't attractive, or is it that it's not attractive? Explain what the issue is, Marvin.
Well, really simply put, your degrees and accomplishments, I love that for you. That's awesome. But they don't have any weight in my in the things that I weigh upon of, do I want to be with you or not? I'm like, it's cool. I love an educated woman. That just lets me know we're going to have great conversations, and we're going to be able to communicate because you're intelligent, all that good stuff. But if the man is the provider and we're taking care of everything anyway, what does that have to do with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, it really doesn't matter. I'm not asking you to come in here and pay the bills while I just chill. So if that was the case, your income and your degrees would have a bearing on our household income. But if I'm taking care of everything, I'm not going to be as crass as to say, I don't care about your degrees. Like, no, she put in work. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's years of dedication of her life that she put to accomplishing a goal. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. I love that. It shows you can be committed to something. That it does tell me certain things, but in the grand scheme of things, financially, in a household, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm not saying, man, she's an attractive woman. She got the body type I like. Man, she got a master's too. No, that doesn't come up. Personality, how you make me feel, how you treat me as a man. Do I feel understood? Do I feel appreciated for everything I do for you? That's what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? So again, I just think, again, it was just communicated too aggressively, unnecessarily aggressively. And it made her feel like, what she did, and it just belittled her. It demeaned her accomplishments.
Rob, what about you? Because you were here in Atlanta, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of women that I'll be like, she will make a great husband. Yes, right.
she got it going on.
If I was looking for a husband, wife, husband, I would love to marry. There's no shortage of women that are able to provide in this city.
Yeah,
Rob, what
there
do
is.
you think about that?
Yeah. Um, you know, we're in a we're in an era where so you guys remember some decades ago when a lot of women would say it's so unattractive for a man to talk about his car, to talk about his jewelry, and to talk about how much money he makes. Why is he flashing money? It's the same for us, right? It doesn't show anything about your character, your integrity, your loyalty, our compatibility. Like, can we your degree and my degree, does that make us compatible? I don't know. I've never heard that before, but it just doesn't show us who you are as a person,
Right.
and so sometimes it's like you're hiding behind it. If you have to lead with all those things, let's remove all of that, and then who we dealing with? Who we dealing
Mhm.
with? Take all that stuff away, because that's who I want to know. That's who I want to get to know.
Yep.
Even I don't care if you a doctor, right? I don't care, because when you come home, you're not a doctor. You're whoever you are. You're my lady, And so I just want to get past that, because if you want to go toe to toe, then we're competing, and nobody likes that.
Mhm.
Very good. Like,
Simple as that for me.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that women, I want to make sure that women understand. I don't, I don't believe that the men are saying that it's not intimidating. I don't think, do you all feel like it's intimidating? Let's just, no.
I
Nope.
think I think it's very impressive that there's so many women that are resilient, because at the end of the day, I feel like getting those accomplishments was proving something, like proving whatever their circumstance was prior to that, they was able to be resilient and fight through that. So I love a resilient woman, an ambitious woman, and things like that. But you know, what else?
what
What
else?
else?
What am I
Well,
going to marry?
right.
Yeah,
I think that's the disconnect, is that it's not about him being intimidated or not being happy for you, right? And I think
Yeah.
that it is it is because I've heard women say, I had an older woman tell me you have to dumb yourself down for a man. And I remember thinking, I don't want a man that I have to dumb myself down for. But I also had to realize, and one of the things that you just said, Rob, is a lot of times people hide behind it. I think we lead with what we're confident in, right? So when I see a man that is talking about his money and talking about what he can do in the bedroom on the first date, I feel like he's insecure and he's leading with that because that's what he feels like. That's what he feels like he has.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I feel like we have to, as people, where a person that you marry, even if you're women do like providers, but at the end of the day, I know a lot of women that have very wealthy men that are very unhappy. So we really need to get to know each other for the substance behind the money and the curves and the degrees and all of that. Because you're laying down, you're not laying down with the degrees, you're not laying down with the money,
right.
you be laying down
Right.
with the curves, but at the end of the day, it's really about what's behind those curves that are going to make you feel comfortable. So I think that it's more about the leading. Mo?
Do you think that when they lead with that, is it because that's what they're impressed with?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that one of the things? And then on her defense, did she lead with that? He already knew, but did she say anything about that?
Well, he asked her and she responded with her degrees and what she did, which that is who she is. But I think that two things are true. I think the way you could tell she's very proud of what she's accomplished, what she should be.
Yeah,
But I also think that there are a lot of men that automatically are looking for something to discount. I have seen that, and I don't know if it's necessary. It could be intimidation. It could be that they assume something. I told you, Mo, I went out with this guy that looked like a chocolate version of Mo, which ended up being a horrible thing. I felt like he was familiar because he looked like Mo. No, I didn't. He looked just like Mo, but he was chocolate, and but he was so mean to me when he learned what I did, and when he saw what I drove, which is why I said earlier, I never let a guy see what I drive, and I didn't even have a fancy car at that time. I had a Lexus truck. So he saw that and he immediately said, "Oh, so I guess you think you're trying to be like a real housewife of Atlanta." And I was like,
no,
what? Like but see, then he did, his car was not a nice car, but he was just a mean. He was so mean to me because of the fact that he felt he wanted to take me down a notch, right?
Yeah.
So I say to that, maybe he was one of those men that does feel like that, but that just meant it wasn't the man for me. Not all men are like that,
Yeah.
and I think that I learned how to, as I put my phone away slowly, not all the time, but try, but as I've learned to lead with more Christal and talk about things outside of work, I had a better response from men. But for a while after going through my divorce, and I know Rob talks a lot about divorced people. After I went through my divorce, I didn't feel like I had much besides work and my children, because that's all I was doing and that's all I was. And that was not something that I wasn't ready. That proved I was not ready. And I did not know that. So I sat down and I didn't have much to talk about besides work and my kids. And as a result, I ended up single in that season because I really wasn't ready. I had not learned to focus on Christal. I was hiding behind work because I was really brokenhearted. And that's just the truth. So people said, what's the chocolate version of Mo? He just looked like Mo except chocolate. And I really liked chocolate. I thought that that's what I wanted. God sent me something very different. But I was looking for chocolate, and he was, and I'm sure he was not a nice guy to me. But I remember him being very hateful to me when he saw my car and when he knew what I did for a living. And so I do recognize there are men out there that will try to take you down a peg, but that just proves he's not the right one for you. That doesn't mean that all men are like that. I don't know if he was intimidated or he was insecure or whatever, but he just wasn't for me. Mo?
And I'm definitely not like that.
No, you're not. But I mean, you guys' faces look the same, but that was it. It was it. And he was from Philly, so he had like that. I thought that I was looking for chocolate East Coast, and God sent me something the opposite of that. But anyway, let's move on to this next clip. If you guys are just joining, we are talking. This is our midweek recap on Ready to Love, and this edition is called The Men Talk. We have Marvin, who was actually on Dallas's season, which I thought was probably the most over-the-top season, but obviously Fort Worth has Dallas beat. Conversation. And then we also have our friend to the show, Rob Malloy, on tonight. We hope we'll be able to have him back on a more regular basis, joining Mo, so that we're able to have this conversation from the men. So I'm going to play this next clip. Make sure that you guys are liking and sharing this, because we're really going to talk now. We're going to go into this next clip, and I'm going to come back and immediately talk to Marvin, because we're talking about how soon are we talking about sexual preferences on a first date.
For you, how did that make you feel?
Well, you were throwing out questions, black or white, summer or spring, right? And every one I answered, boom, 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 boom. You threw out choked or spanked. I said, hey, that's not a question I'm willing to answer. My answer for you caused you to say, I don't know how this got sexual.
I wasn't coming from a sexual place.
The general population of the world would agree that those three words woven together has a sexual connotation. But I will not continue to sit here and debate with you. So from this moment forward, we can change the subject.
Right.
Or tonight's date will be over.
Got you. Things got a little intense, but you gave a piece of it. The whole totality of the conversations, we was rattling off questions. So if you want to give me the respect of asking me if I meant sexual or not, you should have done that. And that's perfectly fine. And I said what I had to say.
Can y'all come get this mic off me? I'm not about to do this with this grown ass man.
Marvin, the reason I asked Marvin to join us tonight is because on your season, we talked a lot about, there was a lot of conversation about sexuality. And what I appreciate when you came on the show is that you shared, first of all, there was so much more to you as a person. And every time the subject of sex or sexuality was brought up, it wasn't necessarily from you. People learned what you did, they learned about your lifestyle, and they had questions, right?
Right.
But you managed to do that in a way that was so respectful and did make people feel safe and made people that weren't even interested in doing it, just they had questions. They felt comfortable asking you. And so I wanted to have you on tonight because I'm like, how was Marvin able to be on the show and have very candid conversations about sexuality and not have anyone get up from a table, not insult anyone to the point where they felt unsafe and they felt bothered. And there's that has happened several times in just the first 4 episodes of this season. And so can you kind of speak to that? Because I just feel like that was really, it was a low moment for Ready to Love.
Yeah, it absolutely was. It's so much of that clip because first of all, I'm a dom. I'm a dominant. I use restraints. I use floggers. There is no non-sexual way that you can put the word choked or spanked next to each other and it not be sexual. And it's like my intelligence was insulted just watching that. So I can imagine how she felt. You know what I'm saying? Just sitting there, and then to try to double down on it and continue that was his ego at that point.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So she tried to, again, another situation where one of the ladies throws an alley-oop and the guy says, "I'm good." She tried to bring it back and say, "Hey, let's recenter this conversation," and then he took it back there. But you got to read the room. You got to read her energy. You got to read the conversation. It's like with everything that I do, there's no way in the world. Number one, I'm not even going to bring up anything like that. Talking about preferences, like, no, I tell you what I do. I tell you what I'm into. I'll educate you on that. And if that's something you want to learn more about, cool, I'll tell you about it. Then you can make the decision if it's for you or not. You see what I'm saying? It's not me saying, so what? That he may as well should have said, you like back shots or missionary. You know what I'm saying? Like on the first date, there was another first date situation that yeah, we could talk about that one next, because I think that one was even worse than this one, you know. But it's just like I think it boils down to, again, maturity, understanding and understanding interpersonal communications with a grown ass woman. There's certain things, there's tact, class, just it's so many things that should have triggered that would have made him not say that in that moment on the phone call. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's the first phone call. Like you said, when I was having those conversations, it was because I was being asked questions. And I don't mind answering. I love educating people, because again, for me, people could have misconceptions about a lot of things that I'm passionate about. So if I can educate you and break down and destroy those misconceptions, whether you choose to engage in it or not, you have a better understanding, then I'm happy. You see what I'm saying? But to come like that and to ask her something like that and to think you can just kind of slide it in there in between the normal questions and think it was just going to get by, like, you got what you deserve, honestly.
Let me ask you, both Rob and Mo, because it's funny. I think that a lot of times, Mo would tell me this before, like, all men are probably thinking similar thoughts. Like, you go on a date, you guys may be thinking about sex a little quicker than we are, or maybe we're both thinking about it. I don't know, but there's a way to do it that makes someone feel safe, and there's a way to not.
Yeah.
And I think that, as women, I've heard one of my girlfriends told me, she said, well, I don't want him to look at me and just want to have sex with me. And I've been blessed enough to have male friends that are like, Christal, they're thinking that anyway. So we get it. Everybody is thinking the same thing. The good guy or the guy that's, a bad guy, they may all be having the same thoughts. But how do we do it in a way where the woman does not feel uncomfortable? Rob, from your perspective, go out with a woman. Obviously, when Koshia got up, every guy that saw that clip looked like, whoa, she's got a nice figure. Obviously, they're very attracted to that figure. So several of my friends watched the clip and was like, whoa, when she got up. I'm like, okay, all right, let's get past when she got up. Let's talk about how do you handle yourself as a man who may have a sexual thought but does not have to share that when he first meets the woman? We'll start with Rob.
Well, for those of you that don't know, I'm 48. I'll be 49 in October. And the reason why I say that is I've known for a long time. I've known for a long time to be very respectful. I have daughters, I have sisters, I have an amazing mother. And so just, respect to me is everything. And I believe when you show a woman respect, you build a rapport with her. Another rule, again, I'm 48 years old. You're never the first one to bring up sex, man. Like that messes your chances up, bro. You done, right?
Oh my God.
If you bring the first one, well, I'm not gonna say the first one brings it up because if she bring it up, she wins. But don't do that. Like I thought that everybody knew that, whether you 18 years old or you whatever the case is. But don't bring it up first. And even if she brings it up, you don't even have to engage because she just may be seeing how far you gonna go. Right. And so like I thought that this was some things that was common, but obviously it's not. But I do think that it's important. Like regardless, establish a rapport, but you should always show respect. Like if you give respect, you should get respect. So there's no turning back once you do that. I thought that it was terrible. I thought it was terrible how he tried to reverse it on her. Like that was terrible. Right. And he had an opportunity, and not all of us are fortunate to have an opportunity, but he had an opportunity to make a correction. And, again, the rules for me is, women set the standard and men set the tone. So if she already set a standard, where are you going? Like, where do you think that's going to go? So, brothers take risks every day, man, but I just didn't think that was a calculated risk.
Yeah, I was going to say that wasn't calculated at all.
That was good. Mo.
Like, man, these brothers hit it right. That's why I'm glad they hit it right on the head. Like, first of all, I just think that you got to read the room, like Marvin was saying. You really, really do. You got to see who you're dealing with. And it's always best to let her bring that up first. I'm unassuming on a date. I'm not the guy trying to, she might think something wrong with me. You know what I mean? Like he's not even paying attention because I know that's a lot of times that's what they're expecting me to do. And I'm patient. I ain't got to be on that type of time. We can go out and have a good time and you go your way and I go my way. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's just like when you feel that energy from her, even then you kind of like just tiptoe through it. Cause like Rob was saying, it could be a test. Yeah. You know what I mean? But just be cool, brother. You seem too anxious, too like relax, man. Tell these guys, cause that's something you're supposed to bend though. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to bring that up. You let the energy, come itself and then she'll let you know. You ain't gotta be pressuring her. And then once again, she gave you the alley-oop and you did it again. And then you went to everyone's intelligence.
And I think men should know, like you can't outsmart, you're not going to be able to outsmart talk a woman. Like it's not going to happen. So he tried to come around and, well, you should have asked me, like, sir, first of all, that's never a good idea for a man to do ever. We have more words and they're right here ready. We are wishing that you would because we have a response. Trust me, our responses don't take much. Women are just good at wordplay.
Yeah.
So specifically, Koshia, you can tell. You could see in her face, she was like, he gave me an opportunity. She's she was checking the mess out of him. At that moment, an apology, all he had to do was apologize and keep it moving. I want to say this before you go to the next clip, Mo.
And I got one more thing too before you.
Okay, let's finish this before we get to the next one. But I would say this as a woman. I would hate, and some women in the chat may understand, specifically if you are, from the 90s, grew up in the late 70s, 80s like I did. I was very self-conscious because we know that men are a lot of times, looking at your body, specifically when you go on a date. So when you go out, I remember that, the same guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he was the guy that looked like Mo, but that was chocolate. That was just a horrible situation. Yeah, Mo, but I told you, so don't act like that you didn't know about this, because I told you. I was like, he looks just like you, except he's
That's funny.
chocolate, which is weird, but he had hair. But anyway, I remember we met on a dating site, and we met at Atlantic Station. If you're familiar with Atlanta, Atlantic Station I was practicing my dating rules. So I put on a nice dress, sundress, walked up, and I, was walking up to the restaurant. So this is our first time seeing each other. So he says, "Damn, you thick." That's the first thing he said. Now, and we had planned to just go have a drink. He said, "Man, I want to go to dinner now." And I said, so automatically I felt unsafe, right? And a lot of times men will think that's a compliment. I did not feel like that was a compliment. I felt unsafe because he made it very clear when a man says, "Damn, you're thick," he's looking at certain parts of your body. And then it was in a very sexual tone. And I was very uncomfortable. That set the tone for me to be very uncomfortable. So I'm already on edge, right? So, and I've had that happen. I've had men do both things. When you meet a man for the first time, you do want to know if he's attracted to you. But when he said, "Damn, girl," like, that is not a compliment. It's not a compliment. So when Koshia got up, it's funny because I've never been a woman that, I don't like those type of compliments. I would, unless, later on down the way. When you first meet me saying, "Damn, you're thick," or "Damn, I didn't know you was holding all that." And these are things that men are saying. They are saying
But we're saying to you, are they saying directly to you?
Yes.
And that's no self-control.
What is that?
No tact. No, just, bro. Oh my God. No respect. It's just a lack of everything you need to be a good person, a good man. You know what I'm saying? As far as, when you first meet somebody, it's like, why would you? I don't know. But again, not everyone has those developmental skills of knowing when it's appropriate to say something like that and when it's not, because clearly you walking up on the first date, he even said hi to you yet.
No, he didn't.
And he's like, bro, I've been in that situation many a times, but it never came out my mouth. I just wanted to say, "Hey, how you doing? It's good to meet you in person." You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
But come on, man, you can keep it inside.
And that's what I want to say, because I used to get mad at the guy. And Mo and some of my other guy friends were like, "No, we're all thinking that. We just don't have to say it." And I've been around Mo a lot. I've been around Rob a lot. And Rob is, whenever you come around, there's a lot of beautiful women around. When I first started working with Mo, he was a rapper. There's a lot of beautiful women around. But I've never heard him say that. When I met my husband and I went on the first date, I didn't even know that he was attracted to me. A month later, he was like, "You put on this outfit," and I was like, "Oh, good." But see, he never showed that, and that's why I felt comfortable. If he had said, then I would not have felt comfortable. And so I appreciated the fact that it was good to know later, after we talked and after we connected, that he was very sexually attracted to me. But I did not. If he had told me that when I first met him, I would have felt very uncomfortable. So
these dudes need to study stoicism.
There you go. Great, I like that. That's true.
Rob?
But no, what I was going to say, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mom. Rob.
Just real quick, when you think about that, it's like you're building a foundation. So you can't, if you start way up here, you can't come down, right? But if you build a foundation, you can grow on that. And so I think that, when you're in a situation like that, you're no different than the dudes that are gawking from across the way. You're the same dude. You're no different. Right. And so just showing that you can have some restraint. Like, first of all, ladies, y'all know y'all fine. Like, you look in the mirror, you're looking at your behind. You done looked at the behind. You know it's poking like you wanted to, right? So they know that already.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, so you would hope that the guy that you are interested in or getting to know would be your protector of that. That is your opportunity to show that you have restraint, you have discipline, and you're a protector. Because if you talking crazy, then what happens when the other guy say something?
I need protection from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite honestly.
Now, one thing that I think definitely the dudes on these shows could benefit from, but any man that wants to understand how to approach a woman on that level, is you have to learn how to read sex energy. And I have had many situations where I was initially with a woman and met her, but I could feel it. I could sense that her energy was oozing, the sex energy was oozing, the conversation was there. So if I said something a little off the wall, she was feeling it. It's a completely different response. But that's what I meant when I said read the room. You know, how is she looking at you? What is her mannerisms? Is she touching your collar? You know what I'm saying? How is she behaving? You know, is her skin flushed? Look at her pupils. And is she playing with her hair? Does she smile and look away and get a little bashful when you say things? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you remember the clip of me and Unique at the brunch, but I had her responding like that. And it was just it was conversation, but I sensed it was so clear, you know. And if you really look at that conversation, you can see that energy was crazy, you know. But that wasn't the energy of that conversation, clearly. So for him to have taken it there, it just shows a lack of the ability to understand a woman and understand how there was nothing about her that said, I'm in a sexual mood right now.
No.
You know, and most of those conversations. So for them to have taken it there, it's like, bro, are you paying attention to the people you're talking to? Are you actually observing and taking in what they're saying and paying attention to their nonverbals? You know what I'm saying? No, clearly. So, and for me as a sensual dominant, sexual energy is one of my tools to cause the arousal when I'm doing a demo, when I'm doing a scene, you know, when I'm topping a woman. And for me, it's again reading the body language, reading how she responds when I touch certain parts of her body, and seeing the flinching and the slight movements. It's like, okay, I know she's there. You see what I'm saying? But again, if you don't know how to read, you don't know how to read a woman's energy on that level, to just sprout out, you just come off as a creepy and immature.
What did you? I'm just asking for education and clarity purposes. What does topping a woman mean, Marvin?
So as a dominant, I'm a top. And when women, when we do domination scenes, the term is bottoming. If they're not my official sub, they're bottoming for me. So I'm topping them as far as doing the BDSM, using the tools, using the restraints, you know, the spanks, the floggers and things like that. So in a situation like that, it is more. And actually, I was in a dungeon this past weekend, and I went live with me and Juju. So I showed the entire process from the initial stimulation that I'm causing with just my hands before I even use a tool, to building her sexual arousal up to the point where her body's squirming and moving as I'm using my tools. But again, I have to pay attention to these things so I can know where she is in the process. And I don't talk at all. You know, only communication I have with a woman is if I'm doing a demo with her or scene with her for the first time, I ask her impact tolerances. How hard can you go? Other than that, okay, I know I've done this long enough to where if a woman tells me she likes a certain range, there's only so many words you can use to describe that range you like. I know exactly where to stay. You see what I'm saying? So I don't talk. Other than that, I'm watching and I'm reading. I'm reading her energy. I'm reading her body. And so some things like that could be, I use it in everyday life, in social situations as well. You know what I'm saying? Again, watching how the woman responds, watching how she talks, watching, how close is she standing to me? Is she getting a little bit into my personal space? Because if that's the case, that energy is there, she wants to be close to me. That's a trigger that lets me know something is there. Okay, that's one sign. And then again, just the conversation itself. I watch her breathing patterns. I watch how her eyes, where she looks, how she's looking at me. Again, what she's doing, what is she doing with her hands? Is she fidgeting to cover up her nervousness or anxiousness? Things like that. So it's like, if you don't know how to look for these things, again, you're going to rattle off at the mouth just doing what you think is right.
Yeah.
And it's completely wrong.
It is completely wrong, and we're not reading the room. That is a lot of information that you just dropped on me. I'm like, oh, I don't know about any numbers. Okay, I wouldn't even know how to respond in that situation. But that's why we're here. This is all a learning situation. I want to play this next clip because it's in the same tone, and it's crazy that this is all happening on one episode. It's really about not reading the room. And
Yeah.
so let's go to this clip and then come back and let's talk as a family.
You like that?
Yeah.
Us being together here.
Us being together.
Here.
Yeah,
that ain't my quality time, though.
It's not?
Nah. I might need to touch you.
You gonna get paint on me?
I might not.
Yeah,
we can put something on there and just see how that work out. You can be the canvas.
Yeah. I don't have to be the canvas.
Ain't nobody gotta tilt you or nothing like that.
Lamar is Lamar. He's his own special character.
But what's your core values?
I would say a man after God's own heart. I want you to at least seek and search for something bigger and greater than you.
Of course, you gotta have that. I'm big on that.
Yeah.
I love those core values that you have. I'm gonna jump your bones. I'm going to pounce.
How did we go from God to jumping bones?
God knows.
Lamar is the drunk uncle at the barbecue.
Yeah, that's what he remind me of.
Friends.
That uncle, you just got to keep the kid's ears closed around because you never know when he gonna say something crazy. Like, I felt bad for her in that situation because you can see the moment she became uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Her face, everything just changed in after he said that one statement, and it's hard to watch. Like you said, it's just like, and then she tried to she tried to make it like that you wasn't really talking about that, was you? And then he was like, yeah, I was talking about that.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. And then I want to jump your bones. Like,
there are men, Ready to Love is an accurate reflection of the dating pool, because I would say to all three of you guys, I have gone on dates or talked to guys, and it's like, okay, surely at first, a lot of times women feel like, did I do something to make him feel like I wanted to have this conversation? So you try to redirect, and he goes right back. And he makes it clear that he does not want to have any other conversation besides pushing you to have a conversation about sex. So at that point, for me as a woman, I just shut down. But I always have believed that men do things because maybe that's all they're concerned with. So they're trying to figure out, is she down, is she not? Or that may have worked for them in the past, right? So what would your suggestion be? I'm gonna start with you, Rob, because that happens a lot. Like, that happens a lot more than we like to acknowledge. Men come from that perspective. And I know I used to wonder, like, is it because I would stop wearing things that were revealing on a first date, come with something tied around your waist, because I don't want to end up in that conversation. But as a woman, I don't feel like
you shouldn't have to do that.
She didn't do anything for him to be coming at her like that. So what would be your advice for a woman? Because we deal with this all the time. It happens all the time. And I don't understand if some women are cool with it. Like, what's behind the scenes is causing this behavior from your opinion? Right.
Man, that's a loaded question. That's a tough one. Mainly because I feel like as a gentleman, again, you should have some standards about you on your interaction with a woman, especially a woman that you want to get to know, and you want to have a favorable interaction with her. And so, you have to have, he was talking about core values, right? He asked her about core values, the irony of it, right? What are your core values? So I just think that respect is a standard that we all should have, regardless. Establish a rapport. and Christal, and I'll even challenge, you and Mo about this. Certain men can get away with certain things. So let's be very clear about that.
This is true.
Another guy that she might have been feeling was like, okay, well, let's talk about that later. Right now, let's get back to what, to let them know, hey, I'm feeling you, but now isn't the time.
Right.
So certain guys get away with certain things, but at the end of the day, respect is paramount, because again, that's who you are. That's going to be who you are. That's what you're going to be known for, and that's going to be your new expectation. So now people are going to be like, okay, there go the dude that's always talking about, getting it in. Like, you're not going to be able to get rid of that label.
Yeah.
And so for the ladies, I would encourage them to what did I say? Stand on business. I would encourage them to keep that level, keep that standard. Don't entertain it. Don't laugh it off. Don't you have to really stand your ground on your principles, because if not, then they're going to try to go another way around doing the same thing. Like if you joke and you get a key, okay, a key for him means let's keep going. Until there's something that you resonate with.
Right.
And so I just want to encourage ladies to, don't feel uncomfortable, make him feel uncomfortable for saying that.
That's good. That's good. That's good. And I like what you said about don't laugh, because sometimes it's nervous laugh, it's nervous energy. You may not know what you're doing, but you may not know what to do, but that laughter suggests to a man that's clueless to double down and keep going. And that may not be, because you could tell that she was not trying to get him to do that. She tried to redirect, but because she wasn't, like Koshia made it clear,
right?
He did not respond. He just brushed past it and went right back to where he wanted to go. Mo, what about you?
Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing before Mo goes. There is a big, remember this big, women should be more accountable. Remember that? I mean, that's still in the air. But one thing we don't talk about is men should be more responsible. If you're responsible, because you can be accountable for your irresponsibility. Like, yeah, I said that, my bad, whatever the case is. But if you're responsible, you think before you do things. So that's why I get that off.
I like that.
That I always believe in the saying. I said this last Wednesday, as a matter of fact. You entertain the clown, you become part of the circus. Like the laughing and because they feel more comfortable and they're gonna do more of it. If you're able to get away from that situation or dead it or walk to your car or leave it alone and be like, have a nice day, sir, and keep it moving, then I would advise you do so. Because a lot of times in these situations that we've seen, the women have given these men an out and they still didn't take it.
Yeah.
So after that, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And I don't know how these brothers feel. Like, I got a daughter. I got 6 sisters, all younger than me. So it's like, when I see certain things, I mean, I like women, but at the same time, I'm not forcing myself on women or trying to make them uncomfortable neither, And I think brothers got to keep that in mind. Obviously, guys who have this type of behavior gotten away with this before. And in some arenas or places and spaces, it's worked.
Yeah.
And so if they just throw the bait out there to see who's going to bite, and that's the way they go. But they got to learn. You can't, it goes back to the same we were saying earlier, read the room. Yeah. Read the room. That's super, super important. Read energy. Like, some people don't know they're making a fool of themselves. Even when you tell them they're making a fool of themselves.
I bet they know now.
Right.
They're going to learn today.
They're going to learn today.
Marvin, let me ask you, because somebody put a comment in there that said, how do you dominate and make people feel comfortable? So I think that there are, this, and All In Production said maybe it's younger women who don't mind if men lead with sexually based conversations. Obviously, there are some women that are okay with that, right? So I want you to kind of speak to how you're able to do that. And you kind of have a little bit, but let's go a little bit deeper on how you can have those conversations, but yet always let a let a woman know that there's more to you and more to your interests than just that. Like, how do we, because to me in that scene that we just saw, Lamar seemed like that was all he was interested in, period. Right. And that's what a woman is going to assume. If you can't talk about anything but sex and you keep redirecting, then I'm thinking that's what you want, and that is the totality of your interest in me. So how are you able to have that conversation, let a woman know that you're on another level when it comes to the sexual conversation, but still come through with having authentic and genuine interest in that woman?
Yeah, definitely. Few things though. Miss View, I saw your comment. Message me at boa.erotica on Instagram, and I'll teach you. I'll give you some information on becoming a dominant. Two, I think that no real woman respects a man with no self-control, and he clearly showed. I mean, both of the clips, they clearly show they couldn't control themselves. Especially Lamar with the I'm going to jump your bones. Like, you're just meeting this woman and you really let that come out your mouth,
man.
So that's why, like, I do study stoicism, and stoicism teaches being in control of your emotions and your desires, and not letting them consume you, and to be able to, for me, like, my world is very, very, very sexual, from parties to demonstrations and shows that I do, my show, my writings, readings, poetry nights, things like that. So what I do is I never just, where they went wrong is saying what they want to do, what I want to do to you, what I want to do. Like, y'all, you're not on that level yet for you to be coming at a woman talking about, this is what I want to do, or would you do this, or do you like this, or this and that. Like, no, you're not there yet. What I did was I said, this is my world. This is what I'm into. I need someone that fits what I'm into in my world, because I do this not only as a lifestyle, but for educational purposes, for shows and things like that. So when I got with Juju, it was real easy. It was like, okay, this is what I do. This is what I'm into. Can we bring this and meet in the middle somewhere? And it was like, hell yeah. But to not even have that conversation and give the women a chance to make that decision, yay or nay, by just throwing it at them, and they don't know you from, two guys 2 days ago. They don't know who you are. You haven't taken any time to establish any kind of rapport. You haven't taken any time to really get to know the women on a deeper level, past the surface, past what you see, past what they've just told you in the first couple conversations on those dates. And again, I understand with the reality show format, the format of this show, everything's condensed. You don't really have a lot of time anyway. It's not like you're filming for 6 months. It's a really condensed time. So you gotta get to it, but there's a way to get to it. And like I said, I didn't get walked away from by anybody. I didn't get cussed at. I didn't get yelled at. I didn't get slapped. I got some crazy looks because, they couldn't handle the answers to the questions they asked. That ain't my fault though. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I just said, hey, this is my life. This is what I do. I have an entire book about these kind of stories.
Yes, you do.
It's not just something that I do for fun or just do for, like, this is what I do, and for me, I think I have, it's two things. I think I have an advantage because it's what I do, but I also have an ability to help people understand through education and make people and women feel comfortable, even if it's the initial conversation. Because I mean, if you go back and look at the footage, I'm an erotic author and sensual dominant. I left it at that. But what happened next? Well, what does that entail? Where'd you get your stories from? What else are you into? Blah blah. Okay, now I'm answering these questions, and when you can get to that point, then you're doing really well. Because again, I wasn't the first one to bring up sex. I just told you what I do, and what I'm into, and then specifically saying that I'm looking for someone with intentionality, saying that I'm looking for someone that fits my lifestyle, that fits my world. And this is what we're here for. That's the purpose of the show, right? That's the premise, right? To find someone that fits you. So for me, if I don't tell you exactly who I am, what I do, and what my world entails, I'm not giving you the opportunity, and I'm denying myself. I'm handicapping myself because I need to see how you respond.
Yeah.
I need to see and know if you can even handle it, because I'm not about to waste my time. We can be cool. I'm cool with everybody damn near from my season. We cool, but it doesn't it doesn't work out because you can't handle it, and I get it, and I'm not about to not be happy and not have what I want when I know I can.
As we all should, yes. I last name first says I think it's high time men admit they really like easy, classless women and cut the complaints about city girls, etc. Leave the ladies to the gentlemen and teach men how to truly uphold a lady. Let me ask you guys that, because you're out here in the dating world, or I believe Rob and Mo are. We know that Marvin is off the market.
Ish.
As far as in a ish, as far as in a relationship.
Off the market that way, yeah, but you know.
But other things open.
Mm-hmm.
But let me and is. Let me ask the two of you, because I feel like I just kind of feel like Lamar is that personality must get something different. So what is the energy that you guys get from women? Mo, I know, you tell me about your dating experiences, and a lot of times the girls will bring up, are you meeting more women that are classy and don't want that, or is the general consensus what up though? Like, I mean, what are you guys encountering when you do interact with women? I'll start with Mo.
Just because I prefer to date women of a certain age, it varies, man. I'm meeting women that are very tired.
Wait, I missed that. You say you meeting women that are what?
Very tired.
Oh man. Oh yeah. They've been through a lot, so I get it.
No, here's the thing: is I'm 53 years old, right? And my preference is no younger than 40.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough because a lot of times, the guys they gave their all to, they gave their all to. And I feel like I'm always late to the party. So it's just like, and I gotta dance and are you okay and cheer you up and let you know I'm not like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I made mistakes too, but I've grown and this is what I could be. And this is like, well, we'll see, Mo. That's why I might have to start to implement a rule this year. Oh, and for the record, I'm not dating in the month of February at all.
Whatever.
No.
What name is that?
No. I'm trying the next 2 months. I'm starting February 1st, and if that goes well, then I'm trying to do the 90-day thing. But in any case, 90 days without a date. And it's tough out here.
I don't.
That sounds hard.
But I like, you see the guy, or they tell you about the guy they gave their all to, and you be like, him? And I be like, oh man, there's somebody that's trying to be open and really get to know you, and maybe we can show each other something, and you're too tired for that guy, but you gave it to the bump. And I just be laughing. I just be like, oh, mm-hmm. So the thing is, I'll be asking questions what happened in the last thing. And the only reason I ask, because chances are, a lot of times when people break up with people or stop dealing with them, it's for the same exact reason the other person stopped talking to them. And I'll be like, and so I don't hold it against them, but in the back of my mind, I just kind of keep it there and just be like, especially if she's because when women are super attractive, dudes tend to put up with a little bit more.
A lot more. And vice versa.
Huh?
Man,
and vice versa. I mean, vice versa. Like Rob said earlier, like sometimes the rules change according to what the person looks like or what you feel like your interest in them. So I feel like even going back to that conversation with April and Lamar has shown up twice tonight. But even that conversation with April and Lamar, if if Lamar had been extremely attracted to April, the rapid fire questions he might have been answering with no issue, right? Because I think a lot of times we put up with things because it may look like we want it to look. But of course, we all know that older we get or the more mature we get, that just the look doesn't necessarily correlate with what's good for you. Pretty privilege is a real thing, fine privilege, you know. But I think it's important for us to hold people, regardless of what they look like, to a standard, because I know a lot of women that have dealt with a man that looked good or, you know, was really good in bed, and then you end up upset with him. But see, he didn't do anything but show up as fine. He didn't do anything different, and you allowed him a pass because of that, and you okayed that behavior. And the same token, men do the same thing. If a woman is attractive or she's crazy in the head, but you like the fact that she's crazy in bed, and then the crazy in bed comes to mess you up later, made a bad choice, sir. Let me ask, Rob, are you meeting Barbaras also that are tired, or are you having different?
You know what? I was kind of struggling with the analogy. So Barbara's the older.
Well, you know, Barbara from
Shirley,
the Shirley Murdoch.
Right, Barbara Shirley, right. Yeah. Oh man, that's good stuff.
That's what it that was born after 85 or after.
You know what? For me, it is really about, you know, where a person is. Like again, a lot of things for me is I've transitioned. Like you know, empty nester the last year, so I date different. My lifestyle's different. You know, being put in different positions now. You know, when you're of a certain caliber, you have access to different types of individuals. So for men, you know, when you're of a certain caliber, you have access to different types of women, different kinds of women. And so it's up to you if you entertain the women that you know aren't a good fit, that you already know is not gonna you know, be on level up with you or whatever the case is, or be that power couple. And so it's just so important to have that commonality, because a lot of times, you know, dating out here, we entertain people for way too long. Like, even if sometimes you should have just met them, right? Hey, it was nice to meet you. Like, don't exchange numbers. It was nice to meet you. And that's happened to me before. Like, I know that she may have been interested, but hey, it was nice talking to you. You know, had a great time. And then I walk off. She looking at me like, you don't want my number? No, I don't. I don't want your number. You know, so you have to take those moments versus, you know, meeting someone, you already know that they got some flags, that you already know that they're not meshing, but because she's so fine and because, you know, she was digging you, like it's not guaranteed. You don't have to engage and indulge like that. There's just more to it for me where I'm at. But the barber thing, the seasoned women don't want me. You know, they don't want me because they think that I want younger women. It's assumed. You know what I mean?
Rob?
It's already assumed.
Rob, who do you want? Let's talk about that, Rob.
I want compatibility. Like, so what I was saying in the beginning is, I need to know where you are in life. You know, I need you to be comfortable where you're at. I need you to be comfortable where you're going. I need you to be in your purpose. Like, I can't raise no young chicks, so it's not going to be that. I need a woman who is very confident in what I do, because I'm operating in my purpose. So I don't need you blowing up my phone talking about you. I see you on YouTube, you ain't text me back. You know what I'm saying? So it's little things like that I have a low tolerance level in, and that helps me not to date so sporadically, or to date, you know, just anybody. Like, you know what you're dealing with, so they weed themselves out, I guess.
What would you prefer, as far as like I'm a big fan of Kendra G's show, and she asked, like, what age range would you at 48 prefer?
Yeah, 40, 40 and 55, around that. Because I'm 48,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know. So yeah, I guess 8 and 8, something like
Okay.
that.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Let me ask you guys all something, because I do feel like when it comes to sexuality, like, I guess it depends on the person, how you introduce that or when you want to introduce that. But I mean, we all have to be honest that physical compatibility is a big part of a relationship.
Mhm.
I am honest about the fact that I was celibate, and it's just because I encountered too many men that were talking like that, and I encountered too many people that was what they were trying to do, which seems ridiculous to me. After a certain age, you should have had a lot of sex, and you should have already. It's just amazing how immature some people are,
Yeah,
because age is not indicative of maturity, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was very honest about the fact that I was, in a celibacy phase, because I just didn't want to give away any more of, I was tired of doing charity work, not into charity, and I wanted to reserve my girl, and I didn't want to share her with anyone that was not in it for the long haul, and it worked out great for me. Because I weeded out a lot of guys that weren't serious. And then I also was surprised that a lot of men that I thought would not have been okay with it really did respect it. And I do also feel like the person that I ended up marrying, he knew where I was at, and then I was able to share all of it, at the right time. So for me, that worked. I know that's not for everybody, but I do feel like women, this is just my opinion, and we're going to have next Wednesday, we're going to have women on. So we're going to have the opposite of this conversation, or the reflection, I guess, of this conversation with the women. But I think when Mo talks about women being tired, I know for me, if I had continued to share my body with men that I was not sharing a future with, that is the best way to get tired very quickly, and to become resentful very quickly, and to feel a sense of bitterness because you are allowing people that don't belong in your space. You're allowing them a piece of you that you won't get back. To me, this is just Crystal's opinion. But I think that a lot of times it creates that energy where, I was telling a girlfriend of mine, I was like, if you're not giving yourself to people, then you probably aren't going to feel as tired. You don't want miles. I prefer to take the highway over the street. Going taking the street, you get a lot of stoplights, a lot of potholes. And when it comes to your body, you don't want to put your body through all that. So for me, it was better to say, I reserve this for someone that is going to be a part of my future. And so when I would break up, or ghost or whatever I would do, I didn't feel emotionally connected, which was great for me, because I wasn't taking it with me. I wasn't, Mo told me, he was like, if you can't take the heat, then you should get out of the kitchen. Because I would leave a situation feeling rejected when it didn't work, when I had shared my body. So I stopped, because that was my responsibility. Your body is your responsibility. Mm-hmm. So I think when women are coming and you hear them, it's because they are investing physically, emotionally, financially in people that are not their future. And that is not your fault as a man. That is her fault, because she is responsible for herself. So I think that is what's contributing to some of that. They show up on your door disappointed and, not expecting much different from you, but that is not necessarily something that you should deal with. And again, and I agree with you, Alexis, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with women who are sexual. I'm just sharing my perspective and what worked for me. But I do think that everybody is different. And if you are a woman that, doesn't connect emotionally through sex, God bless you. God bless you. You have to know who you are. And, I had to learn this does not work for me, because this is going to make me show up in a way that I don't want to. And so that works for me, but everybody has a different way of handling that.
Alexis, you're absolutely right, because there are many, many, many women in my community that are not shamed for being who they are and embracing their sexuality. They're supported, they're embraced, and they're protected.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm definitely not shaming or saying there's any shame. I think
I was responding to Alexis F.
Yeah, no, I said to each his own. We definitely
Yeah.
are different. But I will say this, for any woman or man, you should have sex because you want to have sex. I
Right.
cannot tell you guys how many women I've talked to that have said, well, I did it because I thought that he was not going to remain, interested if I didn't. Or, there's a lot of women having sex before they're ready. And I think that is another thing that we need to have conversation about, because so many, we can talk about that next Wednesday with the women. So many times, like, did you really want to do it? Not really, but he was just bothering me. And I just thought that I had to do it. And then also, did you enjoy it? No. Because if you go into it and you're not really wanting to do it and you're thinking that you have to do it to keep his attention, you're not really enjoying it. And I don't think most men are as attentive as Marvin with figuring out what the pupils are doing. I just don't think that's what's happening.
But I mean, it's really beyond that, because it's about communication. It's crazy you bring that up, because me and you just encountered that like 2 nights ago. I asked her, was she into it? She wasn't really into it. I'm like, well, don't force it. We can chill. Just watch the movie. I want you to enjoy it if we're going to do it. Because that's the purpose. I want to please. I'm a pleaser. That's the art of being a sensual dominant. We love pleasing. And if you're not getting pleasure from it, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, put the movie on. We good. We'll come back to it later when you know what I'm saying? Like,
you're a pleaser. You don't want like pity sex, or I just wanted that.
Right.
Like, nah, I'm good. We cool.
I feel like a creeper at that point. Like, you just did it because you thought I was going to get mad. Like, no.
But that's also a man that's comfortable in his sexuality. And no disrespect to Lamar, but that behavior, to me, when a man is pressed about sex, it probably suggests that he's not getting much, or he's hard up, or he's not really good at what he's doing. So a man that's comfortable, and that, has no issue, and that's something that's plentiful and abundant for him, he's not pressed. You know what I mean? Like, you're not pressed. You're not pressed on it. It's like that with everything. And so I think another thing, men, if you're going into a conversation leading with sex, that's usually a sign to a woman that you're not very good at it. Or that, that you're a little desperate.
Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, come on now. I'm gonna jump your bones. If that don't sound desperate.
That's wild.
There has to be a level of knowledge to know that, first of all, women enjoy their minds being stimulated, right? Like, that's not even something that I feel like is a huge gem, just knowing that, you should be able to stimulate that woman, because sometimes it's going to take that, especially if you're going through something, or she's going through something, or, you guys are dealing with some type of conflict. You have to be able to stimulate that woman's mind, right? And I thought that, one of the rules was to stimulate her mind through the course of time, right? So she's ready. Like, that's what we should be able to do. Also, I think the theme is also read the room. She wasn't feeling you like that anyway, bro. Yeah. She wasn't even feeling you like that.
Right.
So you're forcing that conversation. You're forcing going that direction, and she's trying to straight.
I mean, guys like only know how to turn on the microwave. They don't know how to heat up the stove. You know what I mean? That's a fact.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, and I think it also has a lot to do with the lack of intellectual and psychological evolution. Because if you are, like, clearly everybody on this panel is of a intellectually evolved level. If you're not there, you get situations like that because you don't know how to react in those situations. You don't know how to read those situations. You don't know what not to say, what to do. You don't know how to show respect in those situations. You don't know how to show tact in those situations, because the evolution of, and maybe it could be a number of things, social things, how you were raised, where did you come from, what type of environment did you grow up in, what did you witness as a child growing up, what kind of people did you surround yourself with socially during your adolescent years, what kind of people did you surround yourself with socially in college. All that plays during those developmental stages of the type of person you're going to be for the rest of your life. So it's like you look at people like that speak like that and act like that towards people, like they just have no type of social tact, like don't know how to act in public. And then you got cameras everywhere too to make it worse, you know. So it's like you gotta call a spade a spade. It is what it is. Like I'm from Detroit, man. I know cats like that.
What up, though?
You know what I'm saying? So when we were watching, I'm just like, oh, I knew it was about to happen, because I know women of a higher class level are not going to respond to that.
Mhm.
They're not going to respond well to that at all. They're going to reject it.
Mhm.
You know, and it's a couple of other guys too that are teetering around that same realm of you know what I'm saying? Like they just don't get it, and it's like you sit back and watch these things and you wonder, like, were they cast on purpose, or is this just who they showed up as? That's their authentic self, you know, who they showed up as. And if that's the case, then man, you're gonna be famous for the wrong reasons.
Well, you're going to be famous for a short period of time for the wrong reasons. But I want to, first of all, I want
Yeah.
to thank you guys, Marvin and Rob, for joining us tonight. There's a question that C. Rochelle has asked, and I think this is a great last question for tonight. We've been on almost 2 hours, so we really appreciate you guys lending your expertise. I think this has been a great conversation. I got it to work on Facebook, so Rob, it should be shared now on your
Yeah, it's on
Facebook
my
page,
page.
and so
Yeah, I
people
put
can
it
go
on
back
there.
and watch the full discussion as well. But I think this is a great question, because I think a lot of times women come with the idea that, they have so many negative experiences, and that causes them to have a negative outlook on dating. But I think if we are better vetters and do more to respect ourselves in the vetting process, then we won't get to that point. And so C. Rochelle asked, I think my vetting process of men could be better. What advice does the panel have for women wanting to improve their IQ on understanding and vetting men? Great question. And I'm going to start with my co-host, Mo.
Yeah.
Action. I mean, we could talk all day. I put very little trust into what people say. I put a lot into what they respond to, or what comes out of their mouth. Just sit and be patient, especially if you're dealing with a man a certain age. Nobody should be in any rush. I don't care what he says. I mean, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. That whole thing. Take your time and watch his actions line up with what he's saying, and you'll find out if you're listening and paying attention and watching. The signs are there. Whether to move forward with a yellow light, caution, but just move forward, or to leave it alone. A lot of times we can get, blinded by, the conversation or beauty, or someone's handsome, and we can get tricked into believing, I want to believe him because this person looks good. So, I think it's a go, or maybe I should chance it. A lot of times we feel in our gut. We got to go with that. We got to trust that.
Okay, Rob, what do you say? How can women improve their IQ on understanding and vetting men?
The fact that she asked that question, I think, is incredible, and I applaud her for that. Uh, just to know that the vetting process is so key. I feel like we don't have to reinvent the wheel. It all starts with the desire of building a friendship. When you look at it as friendship, when you're with your friend, when you talk to your friend, you're more transparent, right? You're more honest. You tell them how you truly feel, and a lot of times it'll allow you to really see what that foundation is. But more important than all of that is establishing your identity, because you got to know what you want. If you don't establish your identity, then you can be swayed. Hey, this person may be a good fit. No, this person may be a better fit. And a lot of times we get in a situation where we just want somebody opposite than who we just dated.
Yeah.
We want somebody who is different than the last person we was dealing with, but we haven't identified what we really want and where we are. So I think that that's super key. Friendship is always going to be important, establishing your identity. And like Mo said, take your time. Take your time. I'd rather get to know a person for months and months and months than rush into something and be in a situation that I'm stuck in for the rest of my life.
There you go.
Marvin?
So vetting is actually really easy. In the lifestyle, vetting is a huge topic of conversation because couples have to vet who they're going to allow in their bedroom.
Mhm.
And the way you do that is by, number one, what are you vetting? Establish your dynamic. And when I say your dynamic, what are you accepting? What are you not accepting? What are the do's and don'ts? You see what I'm saying? Once you have those established, then you have a standard of what to judge the men by. Because if you're just dating with no standard of what you're going to accept and what you're not going to accept, and you're not standing by it, then you're liable to encounter anything. But if you have an already set dynamic, a dating dynamic of the type of man that you will tolerate, that you will date, you will entertain, then just rock with that standard. If they don't meet it, peace.
Disqualified.
You're disqualified. That's vetting.
Yeah.
Finding out, talking to someone, seeing if they match, seeing if they meet your standards, your dynamic, what you want, what you don't want. And if they do, cool, you can proceed and learn more. But initially, if you have those initial points of what you're willing to tolerate, your deal breakers, and they trigger those red flags pop up, don't just continue. Because at that point, you're wasting your time.
I think that I would just piggyback on everything that the guy said. I think so often what I see we do as women is we have a standard, we decide we want, and then you meet someone and you like him, but he doesn't meet all that. And so you compromise. And Mo and I always have this thing like, well, did you get played or did you play yourself? And when you compromise on your own standard, you play yourself. So that means that it's not the guy's fault. You cannot get mad at him if he showed up and you made, okay, well, I usually don't want to date a guy that has 3 baby mamas, but he got 3 baby mamas and I'm going to be okay with that. Well, that's on you, sis. Like if you, and it also suggests that you don't really believe what is for you will not pass you. And so when you accept something that's not what you truly want, that's saying that you don't really have faith. You don't really believe that you're worthy of what you truly want. And so the universe is going to respond to that. And you're going to end up with something that's not what you really want. And then we end up upset with the man. But most of the time, men show you who they are if you listen and watch and pay attention. And I'm sure it's the same for women. I don't date women, so I don't know how that process goes. But yeah. I would assume that they do the same thing, because if you're really in touch with yourself, then you know what they're saying. My husband asked me, how did I vet him? And I'm going to answer that really quickly, because I do think that's a big part of this. I only talk about my relationship because I know how I was, and I know I was single for a long time, and I didn't believe that I could find love and be happy again after being divorced for so long. But what happened is, the first thing is I made up my mind that I wasn't accepting anything less than what I wanted. And I also made up my mind that I was happy with my life if that didn't happen. So I was enjoying, I got the house that I wanted, the career that I love to do. I have great friends, and I was in a happy place. My hobbies were there. And I said, if I can't have love this way, if I can't have a best friend, if I can't have someone that I can bring around my friends and who can be around this, and I can be attracted to him, and if I can't find that, I am comfortable continuing on like I am. I have built a rich, full life, right? And so, when I met my husband, he was it was surprised, because I was like, it's almost like I've met the person that I am. Not only was he comfortable with my lifestyle, he didn't try to diminish it. Yeah. He also wasn't too involved with it. Like some guys are like, can you take me to a red carpet event? And that was not I had a guy actually ask to take pictures with my clients that were celebrities. That was very unattractive to me. He was confident in who he was. But I think one of the things that let me vet him is we were having a conversation, and he was very confident. And he said, this is who I am. He made it clear that he was interested. He was consistent, but he laid out everything that it was. And he told me if I wasn't okay with that we could go our separate ways. And he was comfortable with that. And I appreciated his honesty. I had never had a man be that upfront and honest. And it made me appreciate the fact that he laid it out, and that immediately got my respect. And I think that honesty is rare for someone to really show you who they are, to be vulnerable, but yet still for me to be able to respect him. And it was just, it let me know. And he was consistent. I watched his interaction with other men in my life. I watched his interaction with his friends. I watched his interaction with his children. And he showed up as the same person in all those situations. And I respected that because I wanted a man that I could look to as the head of my household. And I feel like I was doing a pretty good job leading my house. So if I was going to give up that place, it had to be someone that I really felt like I could respect. And because I watched him interact with his friends, I watched him interact with my friends, I watched him interact with his family, his children, my children. And I saw this is someone that I genuinely respect. And then we became best friends. But it was after I got to the point where I said, I am not taking or committing to anything less than what I deserve.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I did not think that I would find someone that I have this much chemistry with. Mo and Rob have both met, my husband. And one of the things I love about him is he is, I'm around a lot of very, very successful, very attractive men. I had a lot of guy friends in my life that were a big part of it. He is the only man I have ever dated that embraced them, was never jealous, never has asked me any other question. I had so many other guys that were like, so you work with these celebrities? He never once, I guess he watched me and he judged me by my actions. He's always embraced other men. And my godmother said, watch how a man is with other men. If he's insecure, if he doubts himself, that's going to come back to haunt you. He met Rob. He met Mo and him are good friends now. It's a great situation. I actually was telling him about the conversation with Marvin. And I said, when he and Juju come, we have to embrace them. He said, we can have them over to the house. We're not going to go to the party, but we're going to the house.
Clearing out the dungeon.
Yeah, that's what's up though.
We're not gonna go to the party. We don't want to, indulge, but we want to have, he's open, and I needed someone that was like that. Every single one of my friends, whenever your girlfriends are saying that ain't the one, that's not always them hating. Sometimes they're seeing something that you don't see. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I would say that was how I vetted him. Really, he just was consistent and his actions and his words aligned. Because I had seen so many men that say, oh, I'm going to marry you. And I'm like, how many times I've heard that before? But he was like, I'm going to marry you and this and that and this. And then he stopped talking. He just started showing me. And that is how I ended up marrying him. So I feel like my goal is to really show women you can have what you want. Like Marvin said, you can have what you want. You just have to believe that it's coming and not accept anything less than that. And also be willing to give what you want to receive. Marriages and relationships are not just about a man raining down gifts and providing for you. It takes a lot of effort on both sides. And so I appreciate the gentleman. This was an opportunity to show women there are some amazing men out there. Don't ever believe that some of the trash that we see on social media is all that's out there. These are 3 examples of amazing men that, are each different, but have something great to offer. So I think that we have, we need to start saying that needs to be a part of our conversations. I know there are some amazing, beautiful Black men out there, and I know that there's one for me. And yes, he did have a Dodge to pull horses, because I hadn't met a man that had a truck that could pull my horse. That was a thing too.
But that's how I actually got you. Yeah. And it's something I remembered about our beginnings that reminded me of something we were talking about earlier with seeing a woman's physique and how you respond to the news that she got one. I actually met you a few months before I started filming at an event that I was hosting. She was on a date. So I greeted them and we had this little eye contact, had this little moment, but I didn't even look at her body. Because in my mind, I'm like, she's with somebody else anyway. But I didn't realize that she's built how she's built until our first actual date, but we had already connected at that point. We had already had extensive phone conversations, you know, talking on Facebook Messenger while I'm working, things like that, texting back and forth. So by the time we had our first date and I saw it, I still didn't say anything out loud, but it was still a moment of like, damn, okay. But, you know, and then fast forward, she's mine. So
there you go. Oh, well, I want each of you to let people know, especially Marvin and Rob. I know you guys have your own audiences. So let's start with Rob. Please let people know where they can follow you. I am excited. We have to talk offline, but we are having an event here in Atlanta. Mo and I are doing an event on February 21st, and we definitely would like you, Rob, to be a part of that event. I definitely need to get a chance to have a conversation with you, but I wanted to extend that invitation. We are going to open it up to our audience because we want people to come out, and we're going to do it's in celebration of the first anniversary of Dear Alpha Female. It's not him, it's you. We're going to do a Mars versus Venus, where we talk about the differences and how do we open up this conversation for men and women. So all you singles and couples, we are going to invite you out. We'll have a flyer out next week. And so we definitely invite all those of you that are subscribed. You will be free. Your entry will be free, but it's going to be a good time. And so we definitely want our Silver Fox to join us out there, Rob.
Yeah, you know, that's my type of vibe all day long. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Christal's always a pleasure. Mo, appreciate you. And nice to meet you. You can find me on all social media platforms, just like my handle. I am Rob Malloy. You can find me there on wherever you like to be at. That's where I'm at.
Okay, Tina says that's my dating mentor, Mr. Rob Malloy. Okay, all right. Marvin, let people know, and because I know there are a lot of people in the lifestyle, and I feel like, Marvin, did you get hit up by a lot of women that were wanting to be in the lifestyle after your appearance on Ready to Love?
A little bit, yeah. It was mainly women asking about, you know, BDSM. I actually ended up giving some like online instructions and guidance on where to go to buy certain supplies and things like that. But it was mainly not as sexual as far as being with me. It was some of that, but it was more so like, you know, like you said, wanting to learn more about the lifestyle, having questions about things that I had said that they weren't clear on, and just wanting to, I guess, get it from me directly. So, but yeah, it was. I got hit up a lot after that.
I'm certain. I am certain. I felt like that was going to definitely open up, because I mean, you know, we all are different, you know, and everyone has things. But I think when you educate people and you present it in a way that's mature, it allows people to really feel comfortable asking questions and feel comfortable, you know, getting educated, because it was presented in a way that was mature. And I have to give you credit for that. And I want to say publicly that I appreciate a man showing excellence in the way he presents himself with the topic that can be very sensitive and very can often make people feel uncomfortable. But the way you did it was admirable, and we just want to say publicly we appreciate that example that you set on the show.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And for me, it was just me being who I am and just doing what I normally do. I didn't really look at it as I want to tiptoe around certain things, but I'm glad I was able to convey that and maintain that level of integrity. So I definitely appreciate you for sure.
Mo, anything you want to say to wrap up tonight? Because as I said, next Wednesday, we're going to have some young ladies on, and I'm so excited. These two young ladies reached out because they watched the video and they acknowledged that they had been the woman, they had been a person that approached men the way April did, right? And they learned that was wrong. And they since pivoted and adjusted their own behavior. And I was like, wow, I got to have them on, because so often I hear men say that women are not willing to be accountable. And so there are some sisters that say, you know what, that was me. I did that and I learned. So I cannot wait. You guys definitely don't want to miss next Wednesday, because we're going to have them on. Mo, any last words from you?
I just want to thank the brothers for showing up and saying some real stuff and showing the ladies that there's another kind of man opposite than what we were seeing, negative stuff that we've seen the last couple of weeks on the new season. So congrats to you brothers, man, and continue doing what you're doing.
Appreciate it. Yeah, same to you, man. I'm thankful to you guys had me on, and meeting these gentlemen and hearing their perspectives is really dope to hear. To men that think like me and have that sense of and experience and maturity level. So, but I wanted to also tell everyone where they can follow me, if that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Boa.erotica is my Instagram and my YouTube channel. Juju and I have a podcast coming out called Love and Lifestyles, where we're going to educate people about how to balance relationships with alternative lifestyles and educate on different things as well. So Boa.erotica on Instagram and YouTube, and boaerotica.com is the website, and Adonis Allen is the Facebook.
I want to extend an invite also, Marvin, when you and Juju are here, if you come to Atlanta, we are doing this event on the 21st. If you guys are in Atlanta anytime, please let us know, because we would love to have you guys in studio and to have a conversation about that specifically, because I know our audience has questions. I just have questions. I'm a curious person. I like to ask questions. So I would love to have you guys actually come in studio and us to have, just to be able to talk at length more about that, because tonight wasn't about that. Tonight was more about how do we present sexuality in a way where people feel safe and feel respected. And
once you're in the relationship, how do you maintain that balance?
Once we have known that, we're going there, how now, some questions we can have answered. So I definitely want to extend an open invitation. You have my information. Please let me know when you're going to be in the city, and we'll have you in the studio. I have a new studio that's being built. It should be ready next week. And so
sweet. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited to do that. We'll have to have you over, Rob, as well, so we can do some stuff in studio, so we can share energy and actually connect with each other that way. And I think the audience, I hope you guys will enjoy it. I'm super excited about it. So this will be the home, and then I'll have one that we can invite guests to, so we can go back to the old days of having those in-person interviews that people still need to do. We're back. We're outside now, so we can go back and start doing that. So again, thank you guys both. I know it is past our time. We are at 10:15. So I just appreciate you guys' time. I don't take that for granted. And Mo and I will be back on Friday night with another recap of Ready to Love. Hopefully we won't have such drama, but from the looks of things on the clip that was released today with Koshia and Alexis going back and forth, there's going to be some more drama. So there'll be great content for us. So
just real quick, I just got a text from my team. I have a virtual dating happy hour Sunday, February the 4th at 7 p.m. And I want to extend the first 10 people that subscribe to your YouTube channel will get free entry.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So you guys heard that. The first 10 people that subscribe tonight, we will get those names over to Rob. And if you can share with me, Rob, can you text me the link or something, how they can, because I want to put that information out, because we really want to be a resource for people. So when you're doing things like that, share it with us. We can share with our audience. I want everybody to find love, and I want everybody to find happiness. So we want to be part of promoting things like that. So please share any virtual events or in-person events you're having. We would love to share that with our audience, so we can all connect and learn from each other and grow and love and all that other stuff that Marvin is talking about as well.
Couples that play together stay together. I always say it,
I love you guys for watching. Make sure before you leave that you go ahead and like that. Go ahead and subscribe, and we're going to get you over to Rob's event, and then we're going to welcome Rob. Hopefully we can connect, and maybe Mo and I can make sure that we show up on Sunday for him, and then hopefully he'll be able to come out with us on the 21st and have some good fun. Hopefully Marvin will be able to come to Atlanta soon, so we can welcome him. And you guys, make sure that you stay connected. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get all this information, and you'll know what's happening here on the channel. With that being said, we will see you guys Friday at 10 for the recap of Ready to Love. I'm sure it's going to be a big one. So we'll see you guys then.
All right. Have a good evening. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.